Hey everybody, it's Mark from the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast. We come live to you on Twitch and right here on YouTube every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Central Daylight Time, bringing you all your DFFOO news and talk. Today is my November tier list for GL DFFOO, but before we get into it, like, sub, ring the bell for notifications so that you know when we are live with you. TCCpodcast.com for all the links to our social media, and join our Discord. Have a lot of fun there during the week. And hey, let's talk about this tier list. Before we begin, some of you are going to skip ahead and you're going to make comments. You're going to look like a fool. So listen, the purpose of this tier list is not to rank characters by their power. It is to give you a framework for how to spend your limited resources. If you have done a good job of saving, like me, and on top of that, spend money on the game, like me, you have a lot of resources, like I do. You can spend on whatever you want. But I know a lot of people struggle. They need to pick and choose and make good decisions. So my hope by having these tier lists, you will start to make better decisions, save some resources so that you can play your favorites, that you can build around your favorites, and that you can still pick up those metas so that you can beat all the content like I have and all of our friends have. A few shout outs before we begin: TonberryTroupe.com, DissidiaInfo.com, DFFOO Compendium, OO Tip, OO Tracker, and of course Dissidia Database. Great resources for the game, and great friends, Nidre, Black Nero on YouTube, Alphanaud, VL, great JP players. Been able to check in, get a little info on their takes as well. So here's how the tier list works. C tier is the people I suggest you skip. Don't need to worry about them, obviously, if they're favorites. If they're favorites, you're going to pull. Again, framework, not definitive, this is how you do. This is just my opinion. B, consider for your roster needs. What's your roster looking like? How do you fill it out? What are the pieces you're missing? Maybe, depending on the resources you use, you can go back and look at the B tier. A, 300 tickets. Cap it, 300 tickets for the LD. You can get about 2 of those a month. So again, limited resources. You got about 600 tickets a month on average. So 2 300 ticket pulls, there you go. And then S tier, that's your gem pull, 75,000 gems for the LD. At this point, I'm not going to be suggesting you chase BTs, but what I'm going to try to do is make sure that you are using resources across a cycle so that maybe you can pick that BT up along the way. We'll talk about greens later because I think that's a whole different conversation. So let's get into it, starting at C tier. C tier. Going to be some surprises. Again, this is not power level. This is suggested pulls. Again, I'm going to catch you all in comments if you didn't watch the video. I will make emoji faces, and that's all I'm going to do. Respond. So, hey, if you're listening, if you're watching, and you see people respond, they obviously didn't watch the video. They don't understand the tier list. Just respond with emojis. Hey, and you can join our channel, become a member, 99 cents, and get some fun TCC emojis as well, and emotes. Same thing. Vayne. Instant turn, free turn, consecutive turn, break, re-break kind of guy, right? Damage dealer. Without his BT plus, not super great at this point. His LD kind of lackluster, it sounds like. I don't think he's a BT plus. I think he's actually the weakest of our first 8 BT pluses. So I really think you're safe in skipping him. Cloud of Darkness Garland, great BT plus options. Good characters, solid characters. I don't think you should chase their BTs at this point. If you don't have them already, I think they're safe to skip. Vanille was on a seasonal banner. And we know with the Zac, we still haven't gotten Zac LD, which Japan got last month. It would be our October. We don't know what's going to happen with Vanille. But if we do get Vanille on a seasonal banner, I really do think she's a solid skip option. I like Vanille. She has, from early on the game, dispel, debuff, solid debuffs. Then she was one of our early, maybe our first trap character with her EX, applies that trap. Her LD really doesn't give her anything new. There's no upgrades to her debuff. She doesn't get additional traps. She gets a little bit of party support, but it's nothing to write home about. It's not that you would, I don't think you would be able to use her as your solo support, so she's a secondary support. I don't think she's doing a lot of damage on top of that, and limited utility besides the Dispel. We have other characters that can do that at this point. So I think you're safe to skip. B tier, these are those kind of characters in between that you really need to think about how they fill out your roster. And we got a couple weird ones from Final Fantasy VII lore this time around. That's Kate Sith and Selkie. And Selkie. And wait, what the hell is her name? That chick from Dirge of Cerberus. That game I really like. I completely forgot what her name is. Selkie, right? There's an H in that. We'll talk about Selkie later. Kate Sith, or Kate She, or whatever, however you say it, the, guy in the Moogle with the little cat. He gets an upgrade with his LD that makes him kind of a crit damage machine. Gets crit damage up, crit rate up, and then based on the crits that you do, because remember, he's kind of a gambler RNG character, you do additional damage. So he's an interesting kind of niche support. I think a lot of people are not going to really enjoy how he plays or really value what he brings, but he could bring a lot to your party depending on how you play, and you may like that kind of interesting interaction. Depending on how much crit damage you do even more damage. It's a little strange, but it might be something you want to consider if you need some additional support, some other damage empowerers. I think he's a good damage empowering unit. Selkie's just really a damage dealer, but she is a turn swapping, free turn, consecutive turn damage dealing machine. And if you like to press buttons, she may be the girl for you, because her gimmick is really, she also has shields, which is kind of weird given her kit. But her whole gimmick is she can basically burn through her abilities, and she has some upgraded abilities depending on her buffs and debuffs. But then she can press her LD, and that resets her back to the beginning, like the very first part of the first wave, or when she enters the battle. So she replenishes all of her skill uses and resets her HP and all that kind of stuff. So it's really weird, but also kind of cool. I'm going to pull for her. I like Dirge of Cerberus. I don't think a lot of people may like her, but she's not really bringing anything to the party besides damage. And she does have that kind of turn swapping mechanic where she'll take a turn before the boss, after the boss, that kind of thing. So I think she's an interesting character. If you have some extra resources, you might want to play around with her. I'll get her. We'll talk about her on the show. I don't know a lot of people that used her in Japan, so we'll take there. But I'm a big fan of Dirge of Cerberus, so got to represent there. We'll be able to run her with Vincent down the road. Again, maybe this time we'll try to get him through a Lufania Plus again. So let's go to A tier. Again, this is 300 tickets each. The twins, Lon and Rain from World of Final Fantasy. I hate them. I think they're dumb. But they do big AoE damage, and that's what they do with their LD. Even more big AoE damage and their BT. The next three characters I'm talking about are on their cycle, so again, more chances to get their BT. And I think of these four, if you're going to try to use your BT plus tokens, resources, this may be a good option for you too. They just do a lot of damage, and AoE damage really do excel in multiple enemy fights. More enemies, the better for them. But besides that, you press buttons, they do damage. That's kind of what their kit is. Garnet coming back with Enchant and Peril, a lot of support. She heals. She does all kinds of great things. She's a solid character for your roster. She gets the upgrades she needs. I think, why not? She's one of my favorite characters. I'm looking forward to her. Throw the tickets on there. Again, on that cycle, maybe you pick up the BT as well. And finally, my suggestion for your gems this month is Oren. He comes back with his LD. He actually, Oren was a melee in peril debuffer that did some good damage. Now he actually gets damage mitigation and also has a counterattack. So his counterattack off-turn damage, really cool, but he also gets party damage mitigation to make him a little bit more defensive along with his debuff. So I really like what they've done with Oren, and I think you'll like it too. Again, I think any of these defensive characters, again, it's hard to necessarily call characters straight up tanks. Roles have become a little bit more complex in DFFOO over the years. So he's providing, debuffing, he's providing melee in peril, he's also providing damage mitigation, and he has off-turn damage. So doing a lot of fun things. He probably pair well with some other characters coming out in the future. He is one of my favorite characters. I got some favorites coming out this month, so I'm going to be bluing him for sure. Well, friends, that's the tier list. Again, this is my opinion for how you might have a framework for using your limited resources. 75,000 gems for Oren, 600 tickets between Twins and Garnet, and then see where you are. You can always save. You don't have to spend everything. Bringing into next month. The 4 BT characters are the Twins, Vane, Cloud of Darkness, and Garland. Very truthfully, for these 4, my suggestion is this month, unless one of them is your favorite, that you skip all 4 and save your BT Plus resources. They gave us a lot of BT Plus resources up front, and now they're going to start cutting back unless you pay. And so, you may not even have the option until month 4. I think Japan, it was 4 months in before they got the option to even buy BT Plus resources. So with actual money, with real money. So my suggestion would be to skip. I don't think you need any of these guys. Doesn't mean they're good. Not bad. They are all solid options if you have them fully built. Cloud of Darkness, I think, would probably be my suggestion for the best pull. Also, great friend support. I appreciate your Cloud of Darkness BT Plus friends. She's going to have double the chance to get that really good follow-up damage. Garland, still solid option with his BT Plus. Twins, massive damage. And I think Vane's going to be my weakest. So that's how I would rate them if you're thinking about greening one of these 4. Cloud of Darkness, Garland, Twins, and Vane. That being said, I still rate everything in the first month over these 4. So if you can hold off on BT Plusing, I would hold off and maybe save some extra resources for some coming characters that you do need to pull that BT Plus, or that BT, because it is 125,000 gems to guarantee your BT, right? And then 200,000 gems to guarantee the BT and the LD. So start saving the resources because we are in a tricky era. Hopefully, between tickets and gems, you can make the BT happen or even save some tokens down the line. Well, friends, that's my tier list. Let me know who you're going for, who you think is really worth it this time around. For me, I'm probably going to pull on everything with tickets until I run out. And if I run out of tickets for Garnet and Oren, I'm going to use gems on them. If we do get Zach, Jinli and I will have a pull battle, I think. We're going to try to figure that out. And so look forward to that. And every time these characters come out, Thursday night, 8 p.m. Central Daylight Time, Mino and myself here on YouTube and on Twitch are going to break everything down, break down the fights, and in between, you join us on Discord. We have a lot of fun. I'll start sharing some more run videos too, so you see how I play. But until next time, friends, good luck on your pulls. Let me know what you're thinking, and we'll catch you around.